Welcome to another edition of Talk Your Exposure. In today's episode, a special one. We have the first ever Scarborough Shooting Stars preview edition. This episode of this series is going to be a monumental one, as we're going to be diving into a lot of the players' careers. We're going to be talking about their basketball, the team's success, as well as also different personnel in terms of head coaching, owners, management, et cetera, et cetera. We're looking forward to be able to sharing this opportunity with you guys. And we definitely have a great guest joining us in a bit. But for right now, Chris, I got to ask you, man, what are you looking forward to this year from the Scarborough Shooting Stars?
Well, I'm looking forward to a lot of different things. Especially I tried to get on the team, and they didn't let me out. What are you laughing for, man? I'm still all right. I got a little deep. So I try to get on the team.
Fire. You got a little deep? Fire.
I got a little deep. But they said I wasn't good enough. So they didn't give me a practice slip. They didn't let me even try to look at the practice. So I was like, all right, no problem. So I figured coming this way is a better way, so I could be around all these great players and a monumental time that's happened in Scarborough. So, shout out for Scarborough Shooting Stars. And we can't wait. Like I said, I couldn't play, but I'll be in the building the same way with you.
Hey, there you go, man. There you go. You are going to be in the building with us once a week. We got some very special guests and very special people that we're going to be talking to and diving into this edition with and this series with. We're excited, man. We're excited to get it going. Honestly, it's been something that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. So now that we're able to actually get it in and be a part of it, it's going to be an exciting time. So. But what I'm looking forward to more so is kind of seeing how they're going to evolve over the next couple of years. Obviously, this year, I don't know who's going to be on board with them, but we know that already. They got Jamal McGlory, they got Brady Haslip, they got some great coaching that's already on staff as well. I know they're going to do a good job. It's the first year; it's an inaugural program, so obviously, if they're able to do well the first year, we know it's going to be happening the years afterwards. But to be honest with you, man, I'm just excited to be able to see basketball in Scarborough, man. This has been the first time in CEBL that they have a team in the Toronto region. You know what I mean? They don't have any Toronto team. They have teams in Vancouver. They have teams in Montreal. Now they have teams in Montreal. They have teams in Hamilton. But to be able to have a team that's so close to home, for me personally, it's gonna be nice, man, because we're gonna be able to actually dive in and be able to be in attendance more often. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. And obviously we can definitely try to get more people on board to go watch them play a little bit. So that's what I'm excited for. So but definitely
Yeah, no, I don't mean to interrupt, because I like when you talk, but I'm gonna add to that too, right? This is exciting times. So I like to interrupt you. You know that already, Steven. Yeah, that's our nature over here. But to add to what you're saying, you're right. For the GTA to have something like this, we need to rally behind what this whole project. And I look at it as a project as well, because for a very long time we have a lot of Canadian players, GTA players who've been playing for a very long time, going over the States, and going overseas doing their thing. And I appreciate Toronto Raptors, what the Raptors organization has done, but we really need some homegrown with this league, a Canadian league, so really get that side going. And I'm urging everyone to get out there and get themselves in those seats, man. They get yourself in the seats, be supportive, get behind this, because this will be the first year. And if anyone knows who Sam is and Sam and his team, Sam, he don't play, man. He has a plan. He wants to make this great. He wants to make this monumental. Obviously, he wants a championship, but most important, he wants to make sure that he impacts the city with this whole thing. And impact the city may not happen the first year, but it's definitely going to happen in about 3, 4, 5 years along. And as kids recognize this and the community recognize and get behind this, I think this is going to be another sporting event that we all just look forward to going to. You go in these small markets and you see the attendance up there for people watching the games. We want that to happen for this. We want the attendance to be up for this. So, I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're part of this, but most important, we got to support this. This is a real homegrown. Let's support this. Let's get this big.
This is a real movement, man. It's a real movement, and people don't understand how big this really is. To be able to get the CBL so close to home. Obviously, I live in Vaughan, you live in Toronto, but regardless, Scarborough is still down the street. You know what I mean? And to be honest, like I mentioned earlier, for us to be able to have our first team in the GTA. It's a great opportunity for us. It's a great opportunity for even for kids to be able to finally see some pro basketball and be able to see something other than the Toronto Raptors and the 905. So this is great for us, man. And I really do believe that this is going to be able to help expand Canadian basketball moving forward. I'm looking forward to, seeing what they're able to do this year in their inaugural season. I'm really looking forward to be able to go into the games. I don't know if I'm necessarily looking forward to sitting next to you for all of them as much because, you just, I don't really like you that much. But no, I'm just playing. Everyone knows that I love Chris Campbell. Soup. But anyways, but all jokes aside, though, I definitely am excited about this. So we're looking forward to adding Sam to this. Looking forward to adding Sam over here, and we'll go from there. Or reintroduce Chris Campbell. No, I'm joking. We're excited to reintroduce Chris Campbell to the show, man. Welcome back, bro. How you doing?
No, I'm good. I'm looking good out here, trying to, reminding you that I'm the better half of the show. So just doing my part.
I told you already that Sam's gonna fire us with your bucket hat on. So we're not gonna have a job after this episode because of your hat. I told you.
Sam, he doesn't like that I got all these hats. I'm looking fresh out here. I got a bucket hat. I'm pulling out things this is my Sunday look. Maybe I'm gonna shout out Chippy. I said it to him. I'm gonna shout out Chippy.
Oh my God.
Chippy might come to my house try to steal this one.
Anyways, that's enough about you, Chris. Enough about you and your shout out to your bucket hat. You know how we feel about that already. We want to introduce a man of many traits, a man that's big in the basketball world. We want to introduce Sam to the show, man. How are you doing on this beautiful Sunday, my guy?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling good. I'm very happy to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, honestly, thank you for having us. Well, thank you for having us part of your program and your everything you guys are doing as well. So we're excited to get going and excited to be a part of this with you guys too. So we're gonna start off the show today with a game called Would You Rather. This is gonna be person edition. First thing that comes to your head, you can just respond to whoever it is. So first question we got for you is: who would you rather spend a day with, Drake or Chris Brown?
I think Drake, definitely.
Fair enough. Would you rather have the manpower like Mark Wahlberg or be as smart as Denzel Washington?
Oh man, I gotta go Denzel there.
Okay. Denzel over Mark? Oh
yeah, he's my man. Malcolm X, man. That's my favorite movie.
Okay. Fair enough. Would you rather play LeBron James one-on-one or Michael Jordan?
Definitely LeBron, because I think LeBron would actually give me a couple in the beginning just for fun. He's a nicer guy. He's a sweeter guy. Like I think Michael would be 11-0 and make you pay every point.
Yep. You why you think you can come in a court with me?
Yeah. Like he wouldn't stop. He would just pound you for 11 straight and then talk to you the whole way. While LeBron would be nice. It would be 11-2, 11-3. It would be convincing, but it wouldn't be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Would you rather coach a team in the NBA or coach an NCAA team?
Definitely NCAA, man. The passion, the heart, before they become stars, definitely the NCAA.
If you had a chance to coach an NCAA team, which team would you coach?
Look, any high major. I mean, even Simon Fraser, man, the only Canadian D2. Like, I mean, that's kind of cool. But I mean, I think a Kentucky, a Duke, Seton Hall, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yes, sir. Chris, on to you, my man.
Actually, we have a bunch of things to talk about, but recently you hosted a boxing event, and I thought that was so cool. Like, what brought that about?
Sports and entertainment division. So Red Owl Boxing it's basically two things. It's grassroots boxing. So for children to come into the ring, get training, never ever take a punch or throw a punch, just learn the sport, learn the exercise behind it. And then we also host pro events, and we manage a few pro fighters. So boxing's always been near and dear to my heart. Like, I mean, for me, I've always loved boxing and basketball. So like if you grow up in Scarborough, grow up where I come from, if you play ball well, you gotta learn how to fight because you gotta defend yourself. So if you're good at basketball, I guarantee you're going to fight at the end of the game. So you know what? It became obvious to me that we got to learn how to fight as well. But boxing's always been. I'm a big boxing junkie. So the same way we promote basketball at the grassroots level, at the prep level, at the high school level, we're trying to do for boxing. So our fighter, he recently was crowned the Canadian welterweight champion, Zolt Durrani. I think he's 2 fights away from seeing him in MGM Grand. And we're going to follow him every step of the way. Boxing is a lot different because when you say you're a pro fighter, when you announce you're a professional, you can fight anyone, literally. Like, it's not like basketball where you say, hey, I want to be a pro, and then you become a pro. No, you got to get drafted, right? But in boxing, you just announce it, hey, I want to fight. So there's so much politics there. So we're navigating the politics because at the end of the day, you don't want to be in a fight that's completely outmatched, or, you know what, you get destroyed or destroy someone. Like, it's got to be done equally. So boxing is a much different game to navigate, but it's fun. We're having a lot of fun. Red Owl Boxing, you know what? It's in Brampton. Next pro event will probably be in a couple of weeks.
All right.
I'm actually gonna hit you up. I need to get some boxing classes. I've been wanting to get back into this, or not get back, but want to do some boxing classes and whatnot. So if you have any boxing classes, definitely want to hit you up for that.
No, definitely.
Look, I've been beating him up too much. He's beating him.
I thought it was just verbal beat up, but it's, I guess, physical as well. But you know what? There's boxing in shape, and then there's the rest of the world in shape. Boxers are superior. They're in incredible condition. There's no athlete on earth that's in better shape than a boxer.
It's true.
Yep, I agree.
Well, you know, that being said, you know, kids are usually honest when they're excited. And, you know, you've been doing this stuff for a while with boxing and sports, so on. So has anything ever happened? Like, you tell something memorable that a kid who's completely honest with you about something that you're a part of, and is sort of sharing their thoughts and feelings towards it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Look, you know what? I like, for me, when I walk up those Scarborough playground street, those steps. So, because the building is a very nondescript, unassuming building. And then when I see them go up the stairs, and it looks like they're going through some, you know, dungeon or something, like, you know, like, and like nothing good is waiting for them at the end of those stairs. And then once they get up there and they go, wow, and they open up, and when they open up the door, right? And this one kid, he's like, why did you do this? It's so amazing, right? And then I go, he was a small kid, it must have been 5, 6 years old. I go, I did it for you guys, right? And then he ran and he told some of the high school guys, he goes, get off the court. He did this for me, right? He built this for me. But I love it. Like, I mean, for me, like, you know, building those gyms and having them as a true basketball only facility, and then seeing the looks on their faces, the way, I mean, we decorate the building and things that would normally seem unnecessary. You know, you don't have to put those murals up. You don't have to put the sound up. You don't have to put all the stuff we do, the technology and everything. But their faces, man, that's what inspires me. When I see the way they come in there and they're blown away, that's what I love. And kids, you're right. They're honest. They'll tell you if they like it or not right away.
Yep. All right. Okay. You know, and that shows you the true leadership. And, you know, as being a leader, you know, I always ask people ask these questions. I like asking these questions to people who do a lot of positive things in the community and in the workforce. But how good at you are taking directions? Because I know you guys give a lot of directions. So how good are you taking directions for everything you're doing now?
Look, you know what? I mean, I believe that my goal is to offer the vision of what we're trying to do. So sometimes when I have it, when I see it, I see it. And I'm like, look, it's got to be this, it's got to be this, it's got to be this. Outside of my actual vision, I'm fine with direction. Like, you know, I learn a lot of stuff. Like, even working with the Shooting Stars, working with Nico, working with some of the OVO guys, their marketing knowledge, their, working with the consumers, it's superior. I mean, and I've learned tons of stuff from them. I've learned tons of stuff from my partner Gabriel in boxing. Like, I've learned a lot of things, and I'm great taking direction. The only thing I struggle with sometimes is when I see the vision. So when I see an arena, when I see a playground, when I see something that, you know what, is the way I want it, it's hard for me to say, we'll do it your way.
I hear you in that. Steven, that's for you, man. That's right there.
Hey, fair enough, man. Honestly, I'm the exact same way. When I see something a certain way, I'm like, oh, it's tough for me to be able to try to get out of that. But shout out to you for being able to take direction. I got to learn from you on that one. I do want to ask you though, you're the owner of the Playground Global. What inspired you to get into basketball and not stick with just boxing?
Look, look, when I mean, no exaggeration, I'm walking my kid around. This is when he was small, maybe in grade 5 and grade 6. And we're playing a game in Oshawa at 11, and then we got to go to Etobicoke at 3, and then the game gets changed from Etobicoke back to Durham. And I'm lugging him around, and we're hating the weekend. We don't see anyone, we don't see our friends, we don't see our teammates much, we don't see the community in general. So initially it was literally, the idea was inspired just by giving my children and his team and that kind of little circle access to a home gym, just for them to have a gym. And it went from there. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like it exploded, because initially it started off as 2 little squash courts that we converted in the office. So we had these squash courts that, of course, in Scarborough, no one ever played.
Yeah.
And we decided, you know what, let's just put a hoop in the squash court. So we're talking 30 by 30 squash courts. So the kids were in there, they were training. We started getting inquiries from the neighborhood, like, hey, can we train? I'm like, are you kidding me? It's a squash court. It's not even a real size court. So when a court became available, when a full court became available in the same complex, we jumped on it right away. We bought the building, we did the construction, and then from there it just one after the other. And a lot of people tell me, the pandemic, really fueled the growth. And that's true. The pandemic definitely sped up the growth. But the reality is there's such a lack of gym space for basketball, for any sports, but there's such a huge lack of it, is that we have no idea how many programs and how many kids don't have access to gym space. I mean, when it comes to financial barriers, when it comes to just other sports that get priority, we all know how basketball is viewed sometimes with the school boards, and it always gets last priority. They'd rather have Tai Chi in there. They'd rather have volleyball. They'd rather have, polling, voting in there, so we struggle. So, I felt like, look, we got to, as usual, when you want something, sometimes you got to do it on your own. And that was the reality. I didn't think the system was working for basketball.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was about to say thank you for that too, because all there was before was just Hoop Dome. Only Hoop Dome was the only real multi gym, I guess you could say, multi gym arena, or multi gym gym, I guess you could say. Multi court gym. So like
Hoop Dome was the first, and Hoop Dome, it was there for 20 years. Even when I was in my late teens, Hoop Dome was there.
Yeah.
But the Hoop Dome is in a great spot. It's right in the center of the city. The courts actually aren't regulation. I think they're probably 70-foot courts. Like, they're smaller courts, but you do what you can in the space. But Hoop Dome for 20 years, no one else did it. And the truth is, even 4 courts, one big program could take up all that court space.
Yeah.
Just one. An SBA, a Monarchs. Like, if you put Mississauga Monarchs and Hoop Dome and you said take every available hour, they'd still need 3 times as much hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just one program. And I'm going to suggest even just one gender. Maybe just Monarch girls, and they'd still need 3 times more gym space. So you know what? There's a massive shortage.
Well, if you're looking to expand, which I'm sure you probably are, if you're looking to expand Devon, man, we're definitely want to try to get involved with you guys in that one, because hey, man, we're locally in Vaughan, and we're trying to be in Vaughan as much as possible. So if you're looking to get into Vaughan, hit me up, man. We'll definitely talk. When you opened up the playground, did you think it was going to get as big as it was? Obviously, like you mentioned earlier, kids were just talking to you, about training, and you had your 1 court in the squash court, and you did mention that the pandemic sped it up. But did you think that it would get as big as it would get right now, and people would appreciate it as much as they'd be appreciating it at this current moment?
Look, the thing I tell everyone all the time, like when I was in the States, I took my kids' team to I think it was called the Boo Williams sports facility, and it's out in Virginia Beach.
Yep.
And I've been there. I've been to King of Prussia, where it was probably a 12-court facility. I've been to places in Missouri and Kansas City, and you're looking at these 20, 25-court facilities. They're not in mega markets. It's not New York. It's not Los Angeles. It's not Chicago. It's in these small suburbs or small towns in the middle of nowhere. And they're thriving, like not just surviving, like they are thriving. Yep. And you go there and you see what's the potential. And you know what? I realized what dawned on me was it's not just about access, but the community wants to be together. Yes. You know what? we want to all meet up, even if there's beef and rivalry and all that stuff. We're still all camaraderie. Like we're still all family, right? So I want to, when my kid's game is done, he wants to go see his buddy on the B team, or he wants to go see his sister play. And you know what? She's at court number 12. And you know what? When you see that and you see the way, I believe that having the community under one roof or a few roofs, I think it actually allows for the quality of the game to go up, because coaches can learn from each other, players can learn from each other. We can see it all firsthand. It's not like someone like, I don't know, Elijah Fisher is a mystery. No, he's on court 5. And you know what? You can go take a look at him too, you know, if you want to. You want to see what it takes to be one of those high-ranked players, right? And I really think that, you know what, seeing is believing. And when I saw it in the US, I saw it in cities that, you know, weren't world-class mega cities like Toronto. I'm like, it's a no-brainer. The only thing that what makes us a little different than maybe what I saw in the US is, you know, the Americans have been doing it for a long time. You know, they've been doing it since, you know, at least since I was a kid. So like, you know, since the 90s, right? And you know, it took a little while for the community to kind of understand, because there's no way a private facility can ever compete financially with a public program, right? Especially if you're a not-for-profit, depending on the status of the program, you might get the gyms for free. But at the end of the time, even if it's free and you don't have any, what's the point of being free or getting an hour? There's just so much, and that's what I tell people. Like, for your tournaments, your big events, there's no place like a multi-court facility. Like, that's where you want to be, you know, regardless of the cost. Like, it's just so good for the profile. It helps the sport, and it helps the community so much. And initially, you know what, it was passion. It was built out of passion. I really did just say, hey, look, this is going to be fun for me, and it's going to bring the community together. It's going to bring a lot of my friends and family together, and it became a viable business, and it's been doing great.
Shout out to you guys on that one, man. Like I said, you know, obviously it was Hoop Loan first. Now you have multiple playgrounds. Obviously Vaughn Sportsplex now as well. So the fact that Canadian basketball is getting to where the Americans are, I guess you could say. The only problem is that we're like you mentioned, we're like 7, 8, 9, 10 years behind. And that's the only thing right now that we're playing catch up right now. So I do want to ask you though, like, what do you think needs to be done in order for Canada basketball to exceed American basketball?
Well, of course, the first thing is, you know, it's got to be organized, like much better organized. Like, when I walk into a gym, and I do it all the time, just randomly walk in, and I see 94-40, and I see the score 103-17. And the first thing I say, I'm like, no, this is not good. This is bad. Because you know what? These teams shouldn't be meeting. They shouldn't be playing against each other. I don't know what happened on the schedule or the bracket, but a team shouldn't beat a team by 100 points. And you would never see that in minor soccer or minor hockey in Canada. It's much more organized. So, you know, the best kids in a neighborhood play against each other. Then the second tier plays against each other, and the last tier, maybe they're in a house league or a third tier or something. And that's the way hockey's been doing it forever. So, you know, if you want to play hockey in North York, you go to a tryout, they call it AAA, and everyone that's that good tries out for that team. And there isn't any of this stuff where, look, I play for Brampton Warriors on Sunday, then you know what, I might play for SBA on Saturday, and you know what, I'm one of the best kids in the country, but I'm playing on one of the worst teams in the country, or playing against the worst teams. That wouldn't happen in other sports that are a lot more organized. So I think that's one thing. I think, look, you know, there's a expression, iron sharpens iron. So I think the best kids should continue to play against the best kids. And the first thing is organization. The second thing is really it's really access, because I think with our prep schools, you know, and again, those kids got a lot of access during the pandemic that normally you wouldn't get. And I'm not trying to, you know, big up, you know, what we're doing, but if you look at the junior varsity top teams, 6 out of 7 home base is the playground. Like, no exaggeration. 6 out of the 7, and the finals were 2 playground teams against each other. That's the junior varsity. So that's like, you know, 2025, 2026, I guess. But even at the senior level, I mean, our teams dominated. They dominated. Like, some of our academies, like Fort Erie was, you know, definitely the best team in the country with the best player in the country, undeniable. But our programs, you know, just with access and having the gym available and having good coaching, a good team, and never worrying about, hey, you know what, are we going to get in the gym at, you know, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. They competed very well. And I don't think that it's a magic ingredient. I don't think it's special. And I don't want to knock any of the coaching staffs, but I think access was the key driver in making the program so successful.
I don't disagree with you on that one whatsoever. I was coaching with Inspire this past winter. We actually won the Premier Junior Division. So but like even that, like that in itself, like being able to be in a gym with 4 courts as accessible as we had, the gym was available from legitimately 7:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If people want to come downstairs in between classes and go get shots up, their lunchtime, they legitimately go shoot for lunch. Whereas most of these public schools, the problem with them is that they didn't have access because, like you mentioned, or like the reality is, there is classes going on during those times. It's not like gym time is is separated from somewhere else. And it's not like they have different courts to be able to put them in different areas. So like you're 100% right in the sense of access is the biggest thing, and that's the problem with Canadian basketball. I feel is that they, like you mentioned earlier, even though the schools are cheaper, even though that there's not-for-profits that are free. The problem right now is that kids are not getting in the gym as much as they got to get in the gym. And even when they do get in the gym, sometimes it's smaller court, sometimes it's not, the lines aren't where they're supposed to be. They're not full regulation court. Then when they get to the games, it is much different because now they're playing a bigger, wider court. I think the best thing for Canadian basketball, and you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, is that if there's a way they can get a 10 to 12 a gym arena or whatever you want to call it, one arena that has 12 courts, I think that will take us over the top. And the fact that Playgrounds already has the only 6 facility court gym in the city, for me and even for Chris, because we were talking about it earlier, that is great for the community. But Sam, if you could put in a 12 court, hey man, you're gonna be changing basketball in Canada.
Look, I think there should be a 12-court facility. I think the prep program should have a 12-team bracket. I think the prep system has been a bit watered down. I think, there should be something where, there's only 8, an elite 8, and, they play against each other a lot. And, and maybe they play each other only in one facility and we invite American teams. But that's one thing I worry about. Like, I'm not, losing sleep or anything, but, but I do worry about the prep system being a lot more watered down now. I worry about, what the community in general, because there's a lot of self-interest that, when you see the community, right? So I see things like almost crazy, like almost Don King stuff where, teams dodge other teams or players dodge other players. And I'm like, look, why aren't the best, playing the best and playing them regularly? Why is it a special occasion when, Leonard Miller plays against, USA or something, right? And it is unusual because in the States they would be matching up all the time, right? So there are those things, but I think you're right. I think the facility and having that big facility that the entire community supports, it's imperative. It's imperative. But I mean, the gap has closed significantly.
Yes.
We have closed the gap. We have the second most NBA players. I think it's over 20 now in the NBA. Yep. We have, 300 D1 players, on the boys side. Yeah, 300 plus. And not just these low small schools. Like we've got guys all over. Like look at the Final Four. I think there was 5-6 Canadians in there, right? So we're potentially four first round picks in the draft. I don't know Nemhart would go first, but I mean the first round, but he's definitely going to get drafted. You know what? So we're doing great. Like we're doing great. All things considered, we're doing amazing.
I agree.
It's I'm going to add a few things that you did say, Sam, earlier, because I'm a big community guy, and when I started running PTR the summer league, and we did everything out of the Toronto West area. It was my big thing to see everyone close to close. I was trying to get as much high school gyms in the same area, so people could jump from gym to gym, right? And to see each other play. And that is something that, and it's rough because, people are like, okay, I'm going to go, we're going to go West Humber, then we're going to go to Father Henry Carr, we're going to go Mount St. Johnson, we're going to Albany, all 5-minute distance from each other. But teams are actually doing that to see each other. And I realized how much of a community thing that we lack in that, where people just want to watch. It's an event, and making those things for youth as an event for not just for the kids, but for parents to enjoy themselves is a very important thing. So centralizing, like, having 6 courts or 4 courts or whatever is a great thing because it keeps the buzz going. It keeps the conversation going. And it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice, like, I was when I talked at one of the events at Playground, and you see people, okay, they're at court 1, and court 1's busy because it's supposed to be like, a big time game. And court 4 is gonna have a game, and after so everyone shifts to court 4, right? And and you see, and you watch this happen, you like organically watch it happen, going, this is such a beautiful thing because now the basketball community is actually watching and taking witness to what's going on with programs, players, and everything. So shout out to those 2 things. The community aspect is very important, and also the access. And I think as a coach, not thinking about gym time is a beautiful thing. Like, I don't out of sight, out of mind. I got gym time, I got it. I don't have to worry about court side. I don't have to worry about lights. It's out of my mind. And the kids,
it's such a huge stress factor as a coach. Like you become basically like a gym time manager, all the time. Like our programs out in Durham, like we run with ISBA, Durham, Burlington Force. I'm talking about Burlington actually. ISBA and the Burlington Force and some of the local teams out there. And a coach loves it because it's a 3-court facility. He can come out on a Wednesday night. He's got his U10s, his U11s, his U12s, his U13s, his U14s, all practicing under one gym. And he's not the individual coach. He's probably the program director. And he can walk through and see all of his teams practicing at once. And you know what? That's something that was never possible before.
Yep.
Completely agree, man. So kudos. I like that. Let's go into some other news that we need to cover. That's not known. It's known to everybody. We recently signed a contract with the CEBL, right? So we get big ups to that. And to join the league and enter a team. Let's get into this. So talk about the process of getting your team in the league.
So the CEBL right now is 10 teams, but they were all legal. So the CEBL, I mean, look, their system is very impressive. It's a summer league. They want to have kind of like a standard vibe to every team, standard marketing, standard way of doing things. So they were very particular about having new franchises, individually owned franchises. So they initially approached me years ago, and they said, hey, look, you know what, you're in the basketball community. You seem to be a person we'd like to partner with. Would you kind of like to maybe have the Toronto franchise? So I said, you know what, pro sports, I don't think there's, a lot of opportunity in pro sports. And I don't honestly think competing with the Raptors is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they approached me again, once or twice. And then again, the commissioner calls me up, a man by the name Mike Morelli, ex-CFL guy. And he says, you know what, there's interest from another group. And I go, for a team in Toronto? He goes, no, a team in Scarborough. And I'm like, a team in Scarborough? You got to be crazy. I'm the only guy that would ever think of that. Like no exaggeration. Like I literally said, I go, who else would want to put a team in Scarborough but me, right? Like who else would have such a crazy idea like that, right? And then he wouldn't tell me. He's like, well, look, maybe I can set up a conference call. And I'm like, look, who is it? So I went through my channels. And I called the business people in the community, the obvious people like McGlure, maybe Nash, and none of them were doing it. So I'm like, who is it? So then, of course, the commissioner told me it was OVO. So they want to potentially do a team. So then, of course, my interest level changed a little bit, right? So it went from well, look, you know what? I don't think these guys, support things that aren't going to work. So you know what, I want to know a little bit more about what they're thinking, right? So you know what, he created the meeting. I met with Nico and a person, Lo, and the truth is from there, you know what, the synergies were there. The story we want to tell was more about Scarborough, was more about our hometown and giving back, and not just giving back, but we're doing something really special that us as children would have loved to have in our community. So when that happened, I'm like, look, this is great. If we can do this, you know what, it would be awesome. So the league, you know what, we did it. It's basically a joint venture, and the league's been working very closely with them to kind of get us ready for the upcoming season. But ultimately, the Shooting Stars, initially I wasn't interested, and now it's probably the most exciting thing I'm currently doing.
Okay, I like that, man. So you know, it's rephrase it. So you and Nico got together. You guys basically co-founded the whole Scarborough Shooting Stars idea, right?
Yes.
Because now, as you sat there, I can just imagine the synergy right here because I get like this when I talk to guys from Rexton. So I'm a Rexton guy. Everyone knows
Yes,
that.
yes, of course, of course. Okay,
Right?
Rex, represent, yeah.
You know, I'm a Rexton guy. So I can imagine that you guys sitting there having a conversation about Scarborough and things you guys done growing up, thinking of yourself as that kid walking up that step to the so-called dungeon, right?
Yes.
and wanting to wow them. What was like? Can you touch on that a little bit more? Because I think, you know, when you're from certain areas, the experiences that you hold in those areas, and when you get with other people like-minded to really get it out and do something different, it's unmatched. It's unparalleled. So can you talk a little more about that? You mind?
Look, you know what? It's yeah, for sure. Look, it's a big city, but it's a tiny community at the end of the day. So you know what? Right away, we're like, hey, you remember him? You remember SBA? Oh, you play for this team? You know what? This guy was your center. Well, I play for this team, and I know I had this guy on my team, and you know all those connections. Just at the player level, at the friend level. You know what? We're all 1 degree separation from everything we did. But I think for us, like, you know, he went to Mother Teresa. I went to Stephen Leacock, and you know what? Those schools were in, you know, financial barrier communities. So it's funny because Scarborough's kind of funny. I always tell people that, you know what, in Scarborough, it's almost better to be in the housing community because you know what, the city will do things for you. They'll do, as opposed to leaving you in the low income community where you get nothing. So when you're in the housing community, you know, just little things like, you know what, they'll once a few weeks they'll do a book drive and you'll be able to get a free book, or you know, once every few weeks they'll send a dentist. I'm like, I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to live in the projects in Scarborough, and you get to go to the dentist, which if you were low income you wouldn't get to go to. It was weird, right? So we had a lot of the same experiences there, and you went, and we kept saying, like, a lot of people don't realize, but this city when we were young was very disjointed from the rest of Toronto. You know, a Scarborough kid would very rarely go to downtown. It would be like a vacation.
Yeah.
You know what? From my neighborhood at Markham and Lawrence to go to downtown to see the CN Tower, it was as new to me as it would be for someone from like Halifax.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I mean, things are better. It's not great transportation wise, but we always felt that way. It was always a disconnection. It was always kind of a negative vibe. It was always you know what? These guys in Scarborough, they got to be ultra resilient. They got to be gritty. You know, they got to be this. We had a bit of an impression about us, and for us, it was just like, look, I imagine as a child what this would have meant to me. And as a child, this team would have meant everything. They would have been the first people that put that city on their back. And you know what? It meant something because as a kid, you're growing up your whole life thinking, man, I live in the worst part of Toronto, or I live in the part where people don't really come to or don't really care about. And now you see someone like, you know, even the fact that, you know, Drake, you know, talks about Scarborough in his videos. Sometimes he's in some of our neighborhoods. That just was unheard of when we were young. Unheard of. Like it was not a cool place to be. It was not a place where, you know what, people wanted to hang out. Definitely not. So that's what makes this so cool to us, that it means a lot. It's really meaningful. And that's who it's for. Like you almost think of your just younger self. And you're like, you know what, I would have loved this. This would have meant so much to me. And this city and this team would have meant everything to me. And that's why we do it. Like, that's 100%. Why we do it.
That's heartfelt, man. That's real heartfelt.
Very heartfelt.
I'm glad you shared that. I like always talking about those things because, you know, it's very important. And people need to understand the passion behind it, because sometimes you don't understand the energy behind people. But when you start hearing that stuff and what they've gone through or what they're experiencing, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's not, look at this product. This is coming from somewhere, you know?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So I want to say thanks for sharing that stuff. Sharing that. Talking about Scarborough, and you added some people to your roster, to your staff, but at the time, I believe growing up was Jamba Cats, and big old Jamal McGlory, man, Jamba Cats. I remember that group. On your coaching staff, or on your staff, you've now added Jamal McGlory. You know, he's done very well, carving a wonderful career in basketball.
Definitely,
and kind of basketball legend. And a lot of kids, you know, a lot of kids don't really understand. I'm hoping that we're able to shed some more light on him. and also you got Jay Triano's nephew, you got Brady there, Heslip in there as well on your coaching staff. These are two great players. And I can just imagine how many other people are going to try to get into support where you're doing the Scarborough Shooting Stars. How'd you get them? Like, how'd you confidently? Well, Jamal's different. I understand Jamal's going to jump on that. Jamal's going to get Scarborough. But you got Heslip in there as well. Like, what came about doing that?
Well, you're right. You know what? I mean, Jamal, he was always interested from day one. So the moment the team was announced, he approached us and really, I mean, very humbly. And of course, he could make a lot of demands being who he was, but he was like, kind of like us. He approached it with love, approached it with passion, and just said, any way I can be helpful. Any way I can be helpful. This is important. The same way he puts his heart into his Caravana or the Toronto Revelers work. It's the same idea. It's for the city. It's for the community. It's for his people. And, he's never, ever been shy to admit that his home is Scarborough, and that's where he always looks after first. So Jamal, right out the gate, it was just what position? That was always the question with Jamal. Like, I mean, is it going to be in the coaching staff? Is it going to be in the front office? The beauty of the CEBL, and again, this is why this is so cool to me, is Jamal may be someone who wants to potentially have a front office job in the NBA. So having him as our vice president is an exceptional opportunity for him to follow his dreams. And you know what? He's still a young man in his career, and he wants to elevate himself to front office at the NBA. He wants to be the next Masai Ujiri. I'd love to say that, somewhere along the road, we helped him get there. Yeah. So it's important too. That's what the CEBL does. First and foremost, CEBL offers jobs. It's opportunities in basketball, professional opportunities in basketball. And that's something that lands upon me very heavily because I'm in the job developer business. That's what I do. That's what I do, as my day job, right? So Jamal wanted to potentially work in front office, but it's the same idea with Brady. Brady potentially, he's looking at his career and he's actually in a position where I'm pretty sure he could lace up and make a major impact with the league still. Right?
Yeah, right. No one shoots like that guy. No one shoots like that guy.
I'm pretty sure he could sit there and he could probably put up a good 25 points a game. So, but Brady as well. This is his first foray into now he's got to start thinking about being on the other side of basketball. He's at an age where maybe playing is no longer an option. So it's like, look, there's coaching, there's front office, there's management, there's even positions in ticket sales and membership sales, and so there's so much opportunity. It's like, where does he now position himself for the future of his professional career? And I think that's the angle, because we are completely aware that the CEBL and the timing it is, it's summertime, it's great for players, because they can still do what they do really well, maybe in Europe, maybe in Asia, maybe in the other leagues, and then come play in our league in the summer. And the idea is that it's a developmental league first. It's a developmental league, but not just players. It's also a developmental league for front office.
Yep.
So if you want to learn how to be a professional, front office position and hold those types of positions, the CEBL is a great place to make your start. And I think that's the way Brady sees it as well. Is, look, you know what? Depending on the trajectory of his career, this will be a great stop for him. Chris Exelis is our coach. Chris is also a Scarborough legend. And as well, you know what? The beauty is everyone's got dreams. Everyone's got hopes. And you know what? And I'm never, ever going to tell anyone, you know what? Enough with that dream. I need you here. I need you here for the next 20 years. No, you know what? If Chris one day thinks he can be, Jay Triano or Leo Routens, or coach the national team, or potentially coach in the NBA, I would love to help him get to where he wants. You know what? His goal and his dream becomes mine, because I want to help him. I want to help him go where he wants to go. That's the way I position my career my whole life, and it's done really well for me. But at the end of the day, everyone in our organization has got big dreams. Otherwise we wouldn't really want to work with them. We've got big hopes. Like, we want this franchise to be a stepping stone, a launch pad for people to do other amazing things in their lives and their careers, hopefully with us. And you know what? If it's not with us, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So I think that's where people like McGlure and Heslip and Chris and a lot of our front office guys, even a lot of our players, they think there's a real opportunity.
Right.
Thanks for sharing that. So saying that now, season tickets have recently gone on sale. What can you expect from the Scarborough Shooting Stars this upcoming season? Because we want to definitely promote that side.
Well, look, you know what? We have some very big player announcements. I mean, huge. And the reality is that some of them are currently playing overseas, and out of respect to their teams, because they're basically like in 7-game series, no different than the current NBA system. We don't want to announce it because it wouldn't seem respectful for a player to be playing Game 7 in potentially Spain and saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm actually going to Toronto right after this and starting a new season." So again, out of respect for their teams and their programs and the fact that they're in contested playoff battles, we're not announcing the full roster, but there are massive, like huge players, household names that you will know that are going to be on this team. And but on top of that, you know what, the players come and go. For us, the entertainment value at the arena is going to be good for the most beginner fan to a seasoned Toronto basketball junkie. We're going to do. There's going to be after party. There's going to be a VIP lounge. Again, if you ever went to the OVO Bounce stuff, if you ever been to some of the Crown League stuff, and that vibe, that energy, it's a smaller arena. We expect it to be like really full. We expect it to have really diehard fans, and and again, just things like that environment vibe. That's what we're focused on. So with the whole merging of sports and entertainment, the music, the culture, that's what you're going to find every night when you come out to a game, and it's gonna be an event. From the activations outside, we're going to set up 3-on-3 courts outside as you walk into the arena, and I really think it's going to be the best environment in the CBL to come play a game. There's a lot of pride in Scarborough, but even someone that lives on the other side of Victoria Park, they can come out too.
you never said Rexdale.
Look, I would love if Rexdale wanted to come out. I just don't think they want to.
Listen, it's kind of hard after you passing VP. It's like, they get an itch. But no, honestly, I think this is something that we can definitely try to get more people out across the city, not just Scarborough, but yeah, we all got to ride behind this. And that entertainment factor is a very important thing because it's what sows the seeds, right? And if people have a good experience, they're gonna inquire more. So that'll be like not just going there to enjoy the atmosphere and the games. Well, who else can tap into? I want to start playing the sport. I want to be on the court. I want to blah blah blah. And I like what you're talking about recently. Just talking about opportunities. It's not just about the players and their opportunities, but also the front staff, just getting a chance to get your feet wet in something and to follow your dreams. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to follow our dreams and try to get somewhere that we feel more comfortable or the better version of ourselves. So I appreciate you help us spearheading with this information.
Unfortunately, nobody dreams to wear that stupid bucket hat you have on your head. So let's just keep it there.
You still jealous. He's just a jealous man. I don't know what's wrong. I gotta talk to your mom.
Anyways, my mom wouldn't like the bucket hat either. So she'd be like, "Yeah, you gotta take the bucket hat off."
I'm gonna, you know what? Damn, I'm sorry to interrupt this, but it looks like we're gonna have to have Steve's mom come on the show for one quick show. It's gonna be a sad voting show, but it's gonna have to happen.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh, at the end of the day, the main goal for most things or most people is say we want a championship, and I know the goal is to get a championship. And what I love what you're saying about everything said earlier, Sam, is that it's not. I know the goal is to get a championship, but you actually want to package it with everything else about the community and building the sport and entertainment. But the end of the goal usually is to get the championship. What are your goals? What other goals do you have for this first season?
Okay, so I mean, look, winning a championship is of course priority. You wouldn't be in competitive sports if you didn't want to win. So that's a fact. I believe in the team. I believe in the coaching staff. But outside of the court, I mean, for me, the most important thing, and I tell anyone that wants to listen, is the only thing that we're trying to provide is opportunity. And opportunity is really the most important gift you can give anyone. So I want people to know that, this team, if it's just even coming to a game, just for entertainment, if it's for finding a job, it's for potentially, working with the team in any capacity as a vendor, a sponsor, or whatnot. it's opportunity. And you know what? That's actually, if at the end of the season, if I can say, hey, the team competed well, we potentially won a championship, and that system offered a ton of opportunities to people that normally wouldn't have it, that would be my greatest achievement. Because that's the way I look at it. Look, the NBA is not calling me to own a basketball team. MLSC is never going to sell.
Speaking to existence,
yeah,
man.
no, you're right. And look, it's a goal. It's a goal, honestly. And I tell anyone who wants to listen, I'm like, look, I have a goal to own an NBA pro team, and I don't know if it's going to happen, because the truth is, it's not even about money. It's about, again, it's about a system where you need to kind of be invited. So you understand that sometimes you got to create your own opportunities. And this is really what it is. So I know there's a lot of people that, this is their first foray into pro basketball that normally wouldn't have this opportunity, and no, absolutely no lock on MLSC. It's a class program, but you know what? Sometimes it does operate as a corporate machine. Yeah. And it does operate, where bottom line is everything. And I can assure you that this team is very different. This team is about opportunity. This team's about, giving back to the community. And this opportunity is about getting people ready for the next stage in their life. And if we come out of that this season, I'll be very proud of what we've done here.
Okay.
I love that. I love that.
Well, you know what, quickly, before I go back to Steven, can you please let everyone know, how do we get these tickets? How do they get tickets? The tickets are available.
You know what?
Where can they find them?
Just go online. Again, ScarboroughShootingStars.com. You go online, top left corner is purchase. You hit the purchase button, and then you can select courtside tickets. Again, a pair of courtside. Compared. I sit courtside at the Raptors, and I mean, look, man, the price is almost like the cost of a Honda Civic. It's expensive, right? So you know what? These courtsides, are running for about $80, $90, and you're sitting in the best seats in the house. But any seat in that arena in Scarborough Toronto Pan Am Center is going to be a great seat. It's a smaller arena, fits about 2,500 people, and it's going to be an amazing experience. So the tickets are on sale. And again, I know it sounds like I keep hyping it up, but once the full roster is announced, it's going to be hard to find a ticket available to this team. And I guarantee you, our roster is going to sell this team. What we're doing in the community after the first game, after people see what it's like to be in Pan Am. So Saturday, June 4th is our first game. And when they see the vibe in Pan Am, they see what we give away, they see how we can operate a game. It's going to be hard to get in tickets to that next game.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend, coming out on June 4th. On May 26th, we're playing Guelph Nighthawks in Guelph. That would be a great game too. If any Scarborough fans want to come out to that game to witness our first game in history. I mean, it's on the road, but it's only Guelph. It's about an hour away. That would be fun too. We actually bought most of the courtside tickets for Scarborough fans. Yeah, I couldn't believe they allowed it. I couldn't believe Guelph allowed
it. They'll take anything at this point. They're just trying to get the money.
Oh man, listen, isn't that what Toronto did with Detroit? Remember that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you remember those days?
Yeah,
Detroit, it was like 3,000 Toronto fans in the best seats in the building. Yeah, but I basically got on their ticket thing, and I go, look, there was about 50, 60 courtside seats available. We took them all. We bought them all.
Wow. That's probably the smartest thing that people could do, to be honest with you. Try to make it a home court feel on the road.
Yeah.
It works. It works. And like you mentioned, Guelph's only about an hour away. So to be honest with you, it's not very far. And if people want to go out and go watch you guys play, especially for the very first game, to be able to say I was the first person in attendance to watch the Scarborough Shooting Stars. I know people that went to the Raptors' very first game as well. So, and they still talk about it to this day. I was at the very first Toronto Raptors game at the Sky Dome.
That's right.
To be able to talk about that as well, I'm sure will be definitely a monumental moment for them too. So, definitely an exciting time for everybody. And hopefully, like I mentioned earlier in the show, tickets are being sold. Make sure you guys go to ScarboroughShootingStars.com and purchase your tickets, because you guys do not want to miss out on this upcoming season. Chris and I will be.
That's it.
Sorry, Scarborough Shooting Stars.ca. I apologize.
I figured you do .ca. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's it. My bad. Yeah.
Chris and I will definitely be there on June 4th. We definitely want to make sure we're going to make that happen. So we'll definitely be there for that.
Now. Maybe I have to come.
Hey, we might have to go to Guelph now too.
I might have to go to Guelph now
too.
Come to Guelph. Come to Guelph. I got courtsides waiting for you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I have to go Guelph now.
No, really. Let me know if you want to come because we got a bus leaver. We'll pick you up.
Oh, for real? You come Rexdale get me?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go to Rexdale this one time. Okay, one time we'll go.
I'm gonna go. The bus gonna pull up and see some Scarborough. What? Chris, you jump on a Scarborough bus?
Hey, Sam, we got some quick hitters to finish off the show. First thing that comes to mind with whatever answer you have, there's no right or wrong answer. We just want to dive into quick hitters at the end. Your favorite go-to song whenever you're in either a bitter mood or a happy mood.
Public service announcement, Jay-Z.
Oh, okay, that's a tough one.
Yo, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure. Yeah,
that's a good one. All right,
like
all right.
I quote that song all the time.
I can, now I'm gonna jump in my car and probably listen to that right now. I'm like, good. This weather, put the windows down and just that's a good one. All right, okay. Most memorable sports moment.
It's got to be Kawhi shot.
Oh,
the Kawhi shot. Yeah, I was there. It was pandemonium. I couldn't believe it. Like we were screaming up and down that court. Like I couldn't believe it.
There you go. If you could hang out with one person in the world for 2 hours, who would it be?
One person in the world, one person alive in the world. You know what? Maybe Barack Obama.
Ooh, I like that one too.
Yeah. He's an interesting person. I'd love to talk to him for a bit.
Yeah. Okay. If you had a chance to creating or directing a show, movie, which would it be, or which would you choose?
Show or a movie?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Repeat that.
If you had a chance to recreate or direct a show, movie, or a movie, whatever it is, which one would you choose?
Oh, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. You know what? I heard they're doing a re-up of White Man Can't Jump.
Really?
Yeah. I
yeah.
But I would love to do a modern day one. Maybe have like Justin Bieber play Woody Harrelson role.
Oh gosh. Shout out to Justin Bieber. We got
White Man Can't Jump recreation. I was actually thinking about that too, but Justin Bieber. Wow. Final question, final quick hitter for you before we end off the show. Who's someone you'd like to see on the Talk Your Exposure Shooting Stars edition? But here's the kicker. You have to help us get your answer on the show.
Well, I would love to see Nico on the show. Mm-hmm. I think he'd be great. Maybe Jamal would be great too. They've got a lot of great things to say.
Maybe you help us get them both at the same time.
That would be great. I think that'd be a great show.
Have a little round table going on for the both of them, and obviously if we keep going down the line, then we can obviously bring you in as well. And if we have 5 or 6 of you guys, and I think that'd be great.
Very cool.
Sam, where can we find you on social media?
I am on IG. I'm at Sam Ibrahim 40. Yeah, that's really it. That's all the social media I do.
Scarborough Shooting Stars have one?
Yep. So that's at Scarborough Shooting Stars.
Perfect.
You definitely catch us there as well.
To everyone that's tuned in and listening to this show, once again, make sure you guys do not miss out on your opportunity to go get your season tickets. Go get your tickets in general. And do not miss any of these games. Like Sam mentioned earlier, you do not want to miss out on who they're about to bring into their team. We do not want to miss out the roster. The roster will sell tickets itself. And if you guys have not got your tickets already, you guys might be missing out. Chris and I, we're about to get ours just now, actually. We talked about it yesterday. We're about to get ours. We do not want to miss out either. So hopefully everyone's following the same lead, and hopefully everyone's going to be jumping on board. Sam, one more time, we want to thank you guys. We want to thank you very much for giving us some time today, for talking about Scarborough Shooting Stars, for talking about your reason why and how you wanted to help evolutionize Canadian basketball. So we definitely appreciate everything you've done for our community, everything you've done for our country, and hopefully the kids and people that are part of this country as well can appreciate what you've been able to do for us too.
All right, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And I'm very, very excited about the season.